Hello friends, welcome to our channel The Republic Roar. Today's topic is water crisis. This topic is covered under the NGO KHUSBHOO Madhya Pradesh MANOVAIGYANIK PARISAD. Water is rightly called our lifeline, usually a tasteless, odorless and colorless substance which is one of the most essential substances that keeps our life going. Water is the source of our existence and we use it every day for numerous purposes. One prime usage one could think of it is drinking. Not only it satisfies our thirst but it revives our body. A person can go without food for almost 3 weeks but it is difficult to tell if a person could survive that long without water. 70% of the human body is made up of water. Some scientists and doctors suggest that a normal person needs to drink 3 to 4 liters of water. Opinion may differ from one amount to another that need to be consumed, but all the doctors would tell the same thing about importance of water. Dehydration is a common cause of death in places with scarcity of water. Now, apart from drinking water, we use water for countless other purposes. For example, some household works such as washing, preparation of food and bathing which requires a considerable amount of water. Then large amount of water is used in agriculture and industries as well. If water is so important, then it is so abundant, then why it is out of reach of nearly 1/3 of world population? The global breakdown. Earlier, there was a nation that water crisis is confined to poor or underdeveloped countries, but from the Californian drought of 2015 and floods in the UK, it is clear that the crisis is global. The story in limelight is the severe water shortage in Cape Town. There are 6 major dams in Cape Town that supply water to the city. Earlier, when the city's population was nearly 2.3 million in 1995, some reporters suggest that as the population will grow, the city's water to man ratio will subside drastically and the city may face a severe water shortage by the year 2030. Now, almost 23 years later, the city's population has doubled and so has their needs. While the population grew exponentially, the dam's capacity grew only by 17%. The condition was worsened by the continuing droughts throughout Africa. At end of the crisis, India is home to hundreds of rivers and thousands of water bodies. It gets ample rainfall and it's surrounded by oceans on 3 sides, but when it comes to providing clean drinking water, it does not have much to offer. It is a common sight where people line up near a source of water with utensils and buckets to collect their water for their daily needs. In remote villages, rural women can still be seen carrying water in mud pitchers for miles. Most of the middle-income group families are familiar with the water timetables, where they need to get up at a certain time in the morning to fetch water through the taps and their homes or outside. Though some people get as much water as they could spend, people generally bath under large shower for hours and wash their cars with hose pipes. Earlier, water shortage in India was a result of poor distribution system and mismanagement, but the problem has outgrown itself and become bigger and real. Researchers have suggested that water crisis will turn ugly in coming years for India. A report has claimed that by the year 2030, more than 60% India's water extremely will go dry. India is home to world's second largest population and to manage the growing scarcity of water with every growing population, it will become difficult in the future. Water has always been poorly managed in India. People generally rely on water supply by the administration, but there is no restriction on usage of groundwater. People with resources often dig deep holes in their properties and extract as much water as they need. There are no proper government direction to regulate groundwater usage, and with absence of proper water harvesting system, the groundwater is never really recharged. India's groundwater is growing scarce every day and is expected to run dry in coming decades. Water supply system is another factor that adds to water problem. A recent report says that nearly 40% of the water being supplied in small cities is wasted through leakages. Pipelines that were laid decades ago are in need of renewal or repair at the least. Every other day, the roads are flooded with water flowing out of a broken pipeline, and before it is fixed or even noticed, a large amount of fresh water is wasted on the roads. India is largely an agricultural economy and more than 60% of the population rely on farming in one or the other ways. Farming requires good amount of water, and if reports are to be believed, agricultural activities accounts for 60% of the total water used. This number could have been lower if new agricultural techniques were introduced by the government and farmers. Crops like rice and sugarcane require more water than other crops. Paddy fields are generally flooded with water. Water is wasted in huge amount owing to the poor farming techniques. Government is familiar with new age techniques such as drip irrigation but has failed to make untrained farmers aware of the same. Two Indian states, Karnataka and Kerala, have been fighting for decades over river Kaveri's water. The dispute involved distribution of water. Water has been the center of many such disputes, whether it be India and Pakistan or India and China. Countries understand the importance of water and therefore they have agreed to never disrupt others' water supply in any case. The Kaveri issue is still with the court, and one may wonder why a matter related to simple distribution of water be brought before courts. There have been talks of linking major rivers of India to fight the water crunch, but with lack of suitable mechanism in place, it too is destined to fail. The problem lies with the mismanagement and wastage rather than distribution alone. Resources and causes of depletion. Water is one of the most abundant substances on earth. About 71% of Earth's surface is covered with water, and out of the total water present, oceans hold more than 90% of it. Rivers, lakes, underground water, ice caps, glaciers, and other water bodies account for the rest of the water. Water vapor present in the atmosphere holds water as well. Only about 2 to 2.7% of the total fresh water, half of the water which is trapped in glaciers and ice caps. That leaves us with very little water and a large population to consume it. Though water is a natural resource, it can never be truly lost or exhausted. Of course, mismanagement could cause it to become unfit for drinking and normal usage. Management of water cycle is very important. A great source of water in many countries, including India, is rainfall. Another source of water in major cities of the world is rivers. Both of these resources and sources are in bad shape in present times. Rainfall is becoming scanty in some places and it floods other places, and the worrying point is the switching of these places of droughts and floods without any warning. Plants give away water during photosynthesis, mainly through their leaves by the process called transpiration. Majority of inland's rainfall is caused by evapotranspiration through plants. Rapid deforestation has turned dense forest into desert and changed the course and natural cycle of rains. The annual rainfall measures is dropping every year and rivers run dry before time. India has over 25 meter cubic per capita availability of water per year, but it varies and depends on the monsoon to a large extent. On the other hand, rivers are prone to illegal sand business, pollutions, dams on river courses and extensive fishing. two major rivers of India, Ganga and Yamuna, have become so contaminated that their water have been declared unfit for drinking purposes. Government has drawn many plans to clean these rivers, but nothing so far has seemed to work. About 1/5 of the world's population live and thrives on river basin, and any change in the river water affects them directly. Present farming techniques make use of ample amount of water, and as I mentioned before, around the world nearly 3/5 of the total water is used in agricultural activities. Many years ago, a Israeli scientist, Simcha Blaz, devised an innovative method to water the crops with minimum but sufficient amount of water, thereby increasing the production and avoiding wastage of water. Simcha once realized that one of his neglected trees was growing plump. He discovered a leak in the pipeline which caused drops of water to find ways into roots of that particular tree. He was astonished to find that even drops of water given to a plant could make a plant grow with all these might. This led Simcha to devise a new technique where he used friction and water pressure lost to their leak water drops onto plants at regular intervals. He was able to further enhance his technique with modern plastic pipes. Drip irrigation has contributed in cultivating otherwise dry lands in Israel. Water pollution. Water pollution is another problem that adds to the existing water shortage problem. The main cause behind contamination of possible sources is bad or no sewage system. Another major cause of water pollution is industrial wastage and are let into the rivers, ponds and oceans. According to government reports, leather tanneries of Kanpur causes maximum damage to Ganga. How it affects us? Water shortage may not look like a problem that could affect the normal being of one's life. A scholar once declared that Third World War will be fought for water. That idea does not sound unreal in the present times. People learn to adjust with the scarcity and tend to live with the minimum and poor quality of water that is supplied to them. But eventually, it goes out of control. It is evident from the recent past that region with less or populated water has witnessed mass immigration, unemployment and health problems. As the agriculture yield goes down, farmers are forced to choose their means of livelihood and they tend to migrate to one another place. People may have to change or abandon their years-old businesses and professions, which have become a common cause of poverty. There are farmers who rely on their yield for consumption, but with the crops going bad due to the shortage of water, such families could go hungry, and in worse conditions, it could turn fatal for them. It is often seen that people use rivers for transportation, washing their clothes, pushing excretes, and then they drink the same water. When the water shortage grows bad, people are left with no option but to consume whatever is offered. They often go for unclean water from bad resources, and it leads to many types of waterborne diseases. Lacks of fresh water has made rural part of India prone to water-related disease such as cholera, typhoid and dysenteries. Clean, clear water is also necessary for cleaning edible items, dishes and for personal hygiene. The way out governments, NGOs, people and large organizations such as the UN have been trying to implement various schemes to save water and avert the crisis, but nothing so far could help it. Israel has done exceptionally well for provided the arid landscapes and hard weather. After years of innovations and dedication, Israel have been able to cultivate much of its land and even grow forests. There are many other countries in the Americas and Europe who are water abundant and may not need to worry about any shortages in near future. There are few methods that could be implemented by those that are amidst the crisis or are about to reach there soon. Drip water irrigation. Drip water irrigation could easily solve the problem of wastage during farming process. It doesn't need much infrastructure and capital. Not only it ensures proper usage of water, but it guarantees good health of the crops and better production. Hydroponic agriculture. Hydroponic is one form of agriculture where use of soil is avoided. Instead, water is filled with the necessary nutrients required for a plant's growth. This method uses less water compared to that of regular soil irrigation, as the same nutrient-rich water could be used over and over again. Inspiring the youngsters. It is seen that young kids, if given the chance to devise new method, could come up with yet new schemes of conserving water. Schools and colleges could be asked to help students with such projects. Better government schemes. Not long ago, the Indian government started a project to link all the major rivers of India. The project was started with the vision of distributing water properly and help it reach those places which remain dry throughout the year. A big step was taken in the same contest where the river Shipra was confluenced with river Narmada. Water level in Shipra was going down every year, but Narmada helped revive it. Awareness. People generally do not realize until it's too late. Human nature overpowers wisdom and people develop a tendency to ignore their misdoings. Water was supposed to be abundant if it ran its original cycle, but it was dismantled at every step. The water emergency at Cape Town may simply indicate a slow start, and other countries may follow suit. Most of Africa and a part of Asia suffers from water problems. Saudi Arabia has no water of its own. It buys water from other countries. To imagine what will happen when the other countries will have no longer want to share their water. Water recycling. With new inventions coming up every day, it is possible to clean any type of water and make it fit for drinking and other purposes. Water that is used in the industry could be treated properly and reused. Similarly, water used at home after washing clothes, cleaning dishes could be used again after cleaning or used in other purposes which do not require clean water. Better sewage system. An unclogged and properly channelized sewage could work wonders. It is seen that most of the city's waste are let into rivers and oceans. There are very few treatment plants in working condition which treats the wastewater before it drops into water bodies. Many countries like Singapore are making use of recycled sewage water. It is working on the principle of zero loss. Now, new houses are being built in a fashion where sewage water goes into treatment plant and recycled water is reused in sewage. Rainwater harvesting. Water in India is monsoon dependent. There are many rivers which are filled only during the rains. India gets plenty of rainfall, but this pouring water is not used properly. The part which does not go into rivers or oceans is either let into sewage or gets stagnated into gaps, which gets evaporated with time. If rainwater harvesting system is installed in buildings and houses, it could be solved the water problem in India. Desalination. Countries like Israel have set up desalination plants where seawater is desalinized and made fit for drinking and other uses. This method is being used in many countries, but the costs are high and it takes significant time in conversion. Like I said before, 96% of the total water present is seawater. If cheap and efficient methods are used, this large resource could be used to satisfy our needs. Open defecation. There is also a need to curb open defecation. People often choose to defecate near water resources and thereby pollute them. Government should take care that more public and private toilets are open and people are encouraged to use them. It could also help them fight disease that are born out of unclean defecation. It is believed that there are more mobile phones than toilets. That is, people have access to better communication, but they seem to neglect other basic needs. The crisis is at our door, calling. There is a need to wake up and hear the call, to take up matter in own hands. It should start from the very start, that is our homes. We waste a lot of water in toilets, in our gardens, by washing our vehicles and other activities. A lot of water is wasted in industries. The water can be reused. A proper system could be set up where the wastewater is not let into other water bodies but reused as much as possible. A future with less and pollute water is difficult, and with no water is unimaginable.